how to find love again. And when I was 14, my dad shared a brown golden diary with me. And I was very excited because that diary was from Dubai and there was the first international gift that I had gotten. So I kept it with myself and I had different sections for myself. So I had a motivational corner section. I had a section for all the books that I had read. I had a section for all my happy memories. I had a section for all my small memories, sad memories. I had a section for my dreams. And I had a cute little section for the love section. And the section started by saying, for her. And I didn't know what her name would be. So every time I used to write up something, I used to write to my future partner. And as time progressed, the names always kept changing. So I would cross one name and I write something else, and I'll cross a name and I write something else. But that thing meant a lot to me. And when I was a kid, when I was growing up, there was a movie I was watching, and then the hero in his full force says, you have to fight for your love, right? You have to keep fighting for what you believe in. And that statement stuck in my head. So one of my core beliefs when I was growing up was, you need to fight to get love. You need to fight for your love. And as I then grew up, I had a lot of instances in my life wherein I got the opportunity to test that. First was 2011. I was in secondary school, and I was a below average kid. I had a huge pot belly. I used to be bullied. My name's Ronit Ranjan. They used to call me Ronit Ranjan Dant Manjan, which now is very funny. Back then, it used to hurt me a lot. And I fell in love with this batch topper of my whole classroom. And of course, why would she pay attention to me? Because, I was one of those guys at the corner. So the way that the whole core belief worked in my head was, I need to fight for her attention. That's how I fight for love. And that's why I started studying very hard. Class 8 final exam, I got an 85. First time I crossed 60, 70, 75, 80, 85. So that process worked for me. And I got into sports and all of that. And that's how I started winning her attention. By the time I reached class 10th and I started winning her attention, and she started calling me her friend. And 11th, she changed her school after 11, 12. So that's how, I sort of lost my first love. Then came 2014. Fell in love again. This time there was this other lady from a different section. By that time I was very famous in my school and all that, so I didn't have to fight for her attention, but I had to fight her boyfriend because he was my senior back in school. And I was so smitten by her. She had a wonderful name that I convinced my school authorities to name the 2014 annual function after her name. So if you look at the school books of my school, that's her name. That's the annual function theme. Because for me, that's how you fight. That's how you fight for your love. You convince the world and her that, what, boss, I love you, right? 2015, I joined the army. I'm an ex-NDA. 2017, unfortunately, a spinal cord injury ended my career, and I became a civilian again. But when I was back in the army, we have this thing. We have 6 months of training and then 21 days of break. And the goal of that 21 day is eat like a pig, sleep, and find a girlfriend. Because in the army, we have balls by the time you graduate, and balls is a very senti thing back in the army. And I was single through and through, and I did not want to go alone in the NDA ball, because I'm like, I have to show up as a Fauji, I have to show up as a gentleman, as a stud as well, right? So every semester, I'll go back home, I'll eat like a pig, I'll sleep, but I'll forget, or I wouldn't find a partner. And for me, the whole definition of fighting and figuring out how to find love, how to find a partner kept going on. When I came out of the army, that's when I had my first adult relationship. And guess what most of the guys do in our first relationship? We pour everything. So everything that I had written since I was a kid in that diary, I tried to pour every single thing on that individual. Of course, it got too much for her. So within, I think, a year of dating, she walks up to me, she's like, you are amazing, but you are too much for me. I can't do this anymore, right? And that's how I had my first adult heartbreak. This was in 2017. And I also learned that too much of anything is toxic. And a lot of fight that I'm having, I realized this is not just my fight to find something. I also think there was a lot of fight within myself that was happening as well, because I was just out of the army, and this is where I had my mental health journey as well. I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD. I needed a therapist, not a partner. So after realizing that, I thought, let me take a break. But then guess what? That break did not happen. 2019, I fell in love again with this other lady that I met in a professional front, became friends. I fell in love with her. The moment things started working out a little bit, guess what? She left the country. And that's how that love story ended. And then I came to 2020, fell in love again. And guess what happened again? left the country. And so we have this joke in our inner circle that if ladies, if you're not getting your visa, make me fall in love with you, you will get a visa approved right away, right? So that's a joke we had. But for me, the way it manifested was I was so tired of fighting for love and fighting for a partner that I sort of gave up, that I thought that I would love again because it was one of my core values. And seeing that not being fulfilled really broke my heart. And so I thought I'll take a break, but instead of, again, I should have gone to a coach or a therapist, but I installed dating apps. And I went on a string of casual relationships, and I was going through, I realized that I was so desperate to look for love and intimacy that I would try to look at any potential person and try to jam them into my life simply because I was too I was too afraid of being alone. And that's when I realized that this model is not going to work, because I went on a few dates, and the way I felt like I'll go there, I'll share my life with somebody, and I'll spill my guts out, and after that date is done, they leave, and I'm here on the table, and everything's a mess, and then I have to clean everything back up, put it back in my belly, and then stitch myself and go home only to do it again and again. And the more I did that, the shallower the experiences got, and the more isolated I was getting. So this was the time I thought I need help. This is where I reached out to a coach, reached out to a therapist, and they introduced this concept for me that I'm going to break it down for you. So as we go on in the talks, I am somebody, I love doing visual representations. So I'm going to share 3 stages that help me find love again that I think will help you as well. The first stage that we realize that we need to protect ourselves. A lot of times, most of us, we are so afraid of being alone that we're too busy looking outside. And once we do that, we forget to guard our own territories. We forget to guard our own value systems, our own work, our own profession, our own friendships, our own relationship with our family, because we're trying to go out and protect everything, and then our house gets ruined. So the first step we realized was creating a wall. Now, why was a wall important? Because with all these distractions and every single thing that was draining my energy and my thought process and every single thing, I needed to stop that. And the only reason I could sit and stop and process and reflect on things was if I stop other things entering my territory. So that was step number 1, what we call the wall, wherein I blocked every single thing. The idea was to just stay for a while and just protect my energy for a bit. It went on for a few months, I think 6 to 7 months, and I was going really well. But then I started noticing that I was getting very isolated, because while this wall was protecting me from every single thing, nothing was coming in, but nothing was going out as well. I was not able to express myself. I was not able to even have healthy friendships for that matter. My relationship with my family was not that great. The relationship with all the women in my life, my sister, my mom, my aunt and all that, it was not going really well because I blocked myself so much because of trying to protect myself that I stopped letting people in, and I stopped reaching out to people to ask for support and all that. And this is when I realized that, boss, this is also not going to help. And this is where my coach gave me a metaphor which I want to share with you. He said, sometimes in life, something happens to us and it breaks us. And we close our fist, right? Because the idea is to protect myself. And if there's any threat, I need to push back, I need to punch. And that's a lovely place to start with once you want to protect yourself. But once the threat is gone, you need to stop holding your fist. But that's something we forget. So after the threat is gone, we still keep holding on to this fist very tightly, just thinking, oh, if someday there's a threat, I'm going to punch and all of that. And if you try to practically hold your fist and close your fist for a very long time, it starts hurting. So it started hurting for me as well. It started hurting my feelings and my idea about my work and my vision and my relationship and all of that. But I was so used to this pain, and I would all romanticize it as well, that I wouldn't want to let it go. Even if I try to let it go, if you try opening a closed fist, it hurts. So even if I try opening a little bit, I'll come back to my shell. A little bit, and I'll come back to shell. And this is where I watched a movie which is called 8 Mile. I think some of you might have watched it. It's an Eminem movie. It was when Eminem was new to the whole rapping industry. And again, some of you will relate. There's a concept called rap battles in which 2 rappers, they diss each other. And so the whole concept is, let's say if it's me and my opponent, it's my turn. I'll turn around and I'll make a diss rap on that person's love life, personal life, professional life. I'll try to rip them apart so that they lose their confidence. Then comes his turn, and he will do the same for me. And then the audience decides who wins. So there was a scene in the final part of the movie wherein Eminem, who was the underdog, because he was young, he was not welcomed in the community, and we had a defending champion. It was the final round. It was Eminem's turn first. Ideally, Eminem was supposed to turn and make a diss about this person's life. Instead, he looked at the audience and he did a whole diss rap on his own life. He spoke about every single thing that was going wrong, and he spoke about his therapy and addiction and all of that. Once he was done with his diss, this guy had no clue what to do, because he had nothing against this person. And so the metaphor that I took away from me, that a lot of times we're too afraid because we think that we'll be judged. We're afraid of our own judgment. So what I learned, that the only way for me to open my fist will not be step by step, has to be outright openly own my story. And this is where I started talking about my story in general openly on social media, on offline platforms. I made a lot of content here and there. I used to write poetry about it. And this sort of helped me open up of my fist, and I realized vulnerability is the solution. I realized that the very love that I'm looking from outside is nowhere, is right here, right in front of me. But I'm too caught up looking here and there, but I need to look within. And the moment I realized that maybe vulnerability is the solution, I stopped looking outside, and this is where a lot of self-work happened, and I call it the stage 2. We call it the fences. So it's your wall, and you are at the center, and now you realize that things need to change. But how do things need to change? Only if other things come in and you are able to go out. So you start breaking some of your barriers. This could you do alone or with the help of a professional or your safety net and all that. So a lot of self-work, a lot of therapy, a lot of coaching, a lot of workshop, a lot of introspection, a lot of gratitude, a lot of journaling, a lot of that happened. A lot of going out in public and testing myself as to how am I feeling. A lot of going out and taking feedback from all my friends as to how do you think my energy is. Going to discovering different modalities and all of that happened. This was the stage wherein I experienced maximum career growth, because the moment I started allowing myself to have that, to channelize that love, things started flowing in. And I started getting a lot of opportunities at work. I started getting a lot of attention from women as well, women in my life who would want to pursue me and all of that. I was still sort of wary of that, but in terms of the other opportunity, I took them right away. So this fence is what gave me a lot of space to explore and express myself. And this is where the stage 3 happens. In 2021, I walked across India. So I'm currently the youngest person in the world to walk from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. And the campaign was to bring mandatory mental health education in Indian schools. And when I was walking, this is near Rajasthan itself, I came across a wonderful lady professionally. And we met, we spoke, nothing much. We went back. And we kept in touch because we were talking a lot about curriculums and all of that. And she was into social work and mental health. Gradually, that professional relationship turned into friendship. Gradually, after friendship, I realized that I think I like this woman. Gradually, I realized I'm in love with this woman. But the first thought in my mind, the moment I realized I'm in love with, I'm like, is it the same pattern again? Is it my need of not wanting to be alone and all of that? And I realized, and my coach also helped me realize this, we sat down and we assessed what kind of love this is and what kind of love is coming from this other person, and we decoded it into 3 C's, 3 things that for the talk we'll call her Sarpanch Sahiba. And the Sarpanch Sahiba did 3 things right. First, she challenged me a lot. While I was opening up a few of my beliefs and biases and challenges, all of that, she really called me out on a lot. So half of the times I sit with her, she'll call me out on something and she'll be like, I think then work needs to be done and all of that. While she challenged me, she complimented as well. So she didn't challenge me and leave. She challenged me. She stayed there to understand my perspective. She also gave me hers, but she gave me space to figure it out by myself. And there was always a lot of trust. And the third thing that she did right was consistency. Because I've had a lot of times in my life wherein people who will claim that they're going to be there for you, but after a few months or a few weeks, they're not there. But what this lady did differently, that she was very consistent with it. So even if I didn't want to sometime, I knew that I had to change a lot of this and eventually go to a better stage, because, if I want to compliment somebody, I need to do that as well. And the way I understood that this form of love was different because it was not difficult. For at any point, I did not have to fight for it. And I realized that there's a difference between relationship and collaboration. And I have stopped using the term relationship. I start using collaboration now because I realize there's one unit, there's another unit, and then there's a shared vision altogether, so that I'm creating my life, you create your life, and together we can create something if we align on the same thing. And the moment I was aligned on that path, I was not afraid of figuring out whether she's going to be here or not, whether I'm okay or not. We were so invested in this shared vision that we have, and that just made this kind of love very easy. And that's how I found love again. And I realized the way it was different from the other ones, because in the previous times when I fell in love again, I was all jumpy, I was panicky, I was all excited and all that. But this lady, this person, she was very calm for my nervous system. Like my nervous system just went calm in front of her. All the noises just stopped, and I realized, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. You don't have to keep fighting all the time. Sometimes all you need to do is surrender. And I call it the dal chawal kind of love. And I'm like, oh, I've had a lot of cuisines here and there, but I think I need to come back home to my dal chawal. And this is where I entered stage 3. I call it the garden. Wherein once you've broken your walls, things are coming in, things are going out, once you increase your energy, once you reach a point wherein you're working on yourselves and you have a shared vision or something, that you allow somebody else to come into your life. And the universe also rewards you for that, because the universe sees that you're increasing your energy. So you attract similar minds, similar people, similar individuals, and the other people enter into your garden. This is where you create something beautiful together, wherein there are different colors of flowers and trees growing together, and this is a very healthy space to be in. And once I experienced this garden, I realized that a lot of love is not about fighting. A lot of love is about surrendering. We don't surrender because we always operate from ego. Love with ego never works well. Love with surrender and trust is the answer. So when I had that sort of love, I realized that this model was not just mine, because I've been coaching for 6 years now, and I tried using this analogy with a lot of my clients, and every time it sticks. Every time I do this talk somewhere, I talk about this concept, it sticks with people. So to summarize, we have our walls first. For a lot of people who are confused what to do, what not to do, you need to stop doing every single thing, and you need to create a wall around you. You need to start learning how to say no to random people, random experiences, random energies, and protect your energy. Once you do that, start working on breaking these walls, started making a vision for yourself, start working on your biases, start dropping a lot of things, ideas, people, biases from your life. Once you're doing that, you will increase your energy. Universe sees that. You will find people from the similar energy who will also challenge you, who will enter your territory, who will offer you theirs as well, and you make a garden together. And that is how, my friends, you will find love. Now, unfortunately, we lost my Sarpanch Sahiba last year to a road accident. And while grief takes its time and is taking its time, I'm so grateful for her. And mind you, before you get sad, I want you to know that right now, I'm very happy. And I'm sure that wherever she is, she's looking at me and she's looking at all of you with a huge smile, because she's taught me really well. She taught me how to love the right way and how to be loved the right way. And I'm also very sure that I will find love again. And I keep talking to her sometimes. I'm like, boss, now you figure out somebody else for me. And the way I figured out that a lot of times there are certain purposes of people in our life, and her purpose was to teach me how to love and how to be open to love. And I know for a fact that today I can go back to my diary and write something again, because I know I can fall in love again with this bruised but beautiful little heart. And if she was here on this stage, she would love to say these words to me and to you, that you will love again, that you will be loved better, that you will love better, that you are love that you're looking for. So thank you so much. It's been an honor speaking with you. Thank you for having me here. And for both of us, we say thank you. Thank you so much.